This is a new version of how to use FMGO and to install items into FMGO using the iPad or iPhone. In this case, I'm going to be doing the iPad, and I'm going to be going to the screen within iTunes. I'm going to move this up here so you can see it. In iTunes, what I'm going to do is make sure that the lightning cable, which is the cable from your PC or Mac, is hooked to the iPad or iPhone. Then you're going to go up and you're going to select the device that you're actually working with. In this case, I'm going to go to the iPad mini. And in this case, when you go to the iPad mini, I'm going to pick Apps. As you can see here, this is all the installed applications that are in the iPad at this point in time. I'm going to scroll down until I see FileMaker Go. Now this is version 14. I have 4 different versions. These are all older versions. What I'm going to do is highlight FileMaker Go. You'll see that there's one application currently loaded on the iPad mini. What I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll down by going to the side over here, and I'm going to say Add. And it's going to bring up the selection box dialog. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go look for, in this case, an application that is on my hard drive, and I'm going to use this. I'm going to go in and I'm going to find a project that I'm already working on, and it's called Hiker Biker, which is a new app that I'm working with. And in this case, it's not in the top level on this one, so I'm going to go down and look over on another one. In this case, it's Hiker Biker over here. And it takes me to the file. Now there's 2 different types of files. There's an FMP, or there's a zip file, or the actual compiled version, which is the one up here. We want the one that's the single file, and I'm going to double click on it. And when I double click on it, it says it cannot be copied because you have no permission. Well, the permission will be required where what you do is you go to your iPad and you put in your password or username as far as the code and say OK, and then allow you access. So anytime you see that where you don't have permission, that is probably the problem that you're going to be having. So you put in your code and now it's available for you to add that particular item. So I'm going to say Add. I'm going to go in and I'm going to pick, and move it over here so you can see it, the iPad application. And in this particular case, I'll double click on it. Once I double click, it only takes a few seconds, and if I come back up here, you'll see where I have the Hiker Biker application now installed on the iPad. This is as simple as it gets. Now what happens when you go over to the iPad, you're going to be looking at the FMGO application, and what you're going to do, and we're going to try to simulate that, and I'm going to stop here and then come back. Before I go any further, I want to point out what we're doing here is we're going to the Apple iTunes store for the App Store, and what we're doing is we're recording. What we're doing is we're going to go ahead and find FileMaker Go 14. There's also an older version called Go 13. We want 14, and this is for the new versions, and we're going to go ahead and add that to your iPad before you start to add the application. If you don't see the application on your list of apps, you'll have to put that in there for FileMaker Go before you can actually load it. So let's go ahead and move that off the screen. Once you have FileMaker Go in your list of applications that you can work with, which have the ability to file share, then you would add the application that you want to put in there. Now let's go ahead and do a second thing. What we're going to do is we're going to leave the App Store. Go ahead and get out of here and drop it. We're going to go ahead and put in FileMaker Go 14. And what it's going to do, it's going to go ahead and load it down, and you would pick it for FileMaker Go and say Open. It'd be download if you don't have it already, and it's going to go ahead and find it on your hard drive on your iPad, and it's going to open it up. This is what you're actually looking at, is the iPad, so you'll be seeing that when you're looking at it. And in this case, it has one app on there, the consignment. But what we can do is we can look for local apps. If you look down at the bottom of the screen, and unfortunately this thing is where I'm recording, you can actually see it. There's recent apps, and over here is devices, and we want to put in the device for the iPads so we can see the application we're installing. Now the one I just installed, now we're going back in the other direction. I've installed the Hiker Biker app onto the computer, and now when I tap on it, it'll go ahead and ask me for the username and password. Now there is a username and password required, and then you would click login and it would go ahead and open the application. And I'm not going to go do that yet, but basically when you get to this point you would go ahead, and if you want to, if you're on a Mac, it'll ask you if you want to save it to the keychain, and that's for if you have iTunes either on the Mac or PC. It will store the username and password for future usage, and that way you will not have to come back in every time you want to log on to this app here. You would not have to do that because it'll go ahead and be there. So on this app, I'm just going to go ahead and log in. What you would do is you would go ahead and load your username and password in. In this case, I'm just going to put something in there for the heck of it. And what it's going to do is it's going to go ahead and then provide the opening, and it'll open to the application, and then you'll be able to run it. And each application, of course, is different, so that's how you would use it. It's how it's designed. If you have any questions, you can go ahead and contact me for support. Thank you.